I found out about the beach house on Instagram. A blurry video of my sister, Brielle, jumping into a hot tub, champagne in one hand, a phone in the other. The caption read, "When your brother has great credit and no boundaries, hashtag beach life." I didn't even know she was in Florida. By the time I scrolled through the comments and saw my parents' likes, I'd already started shaking. I opened my banking app, then my credit monitoring app, then my texts, where no one had said a single word. I wasn't just the last to know, I wasn't supposed to know it all. And still, I didn't call her. I didn't call anyone. Because the truth is, I trained them to treat me this way. My name is Marcus Lane, and I'm the oldest child in a family that confuses generosity with servitude. I'm 36. I live in San Diego. I'm a lead systems engineer at a cloud security firm, and my last promotion came with a $60,000 bonus and stock options I never talked about, because I learned early that money makes my family hungrier, not happier. I grew up in Charlotte, North Carolina, working class. Secondhand shoes, generic cereal. My mom stayed home, my dad floated from one union gig to another. By 15, I knew that if I wanted out, no one was going to carry me. So I became the guy who always showed up, quiet, reliable, obsessive. I fixed things, paid things, sacrificed quietly, even when it hurt, especially when it hurt. The house I bought my parents 5 years ago, they told people it was a blessing. What they didn't say was that they co-signed nothing, paid nothing, and never even asked if I could afford it. The car I bought my brother 2 Christmases ago, he totaled it racing down I-85 2 months later, laughed it off, and then asked if I could help him get another one for work. I said yes. The one time I told Brielle no, she wanted a loan for a destination bachelorette party. She told our parents I was turning Hollywood and trying to act better than them. I sent her the money the next day. I'd had panic attacks in parking garages and blacked out from stress on a Delta flight. But you'd never know from the outside. I don't drink. I don't yell. I don't threaten to cut people off. That's not how I was raised. What I was raised to do was endure. It was a Thursday night when I got the call from my mom. "Marcus," she said sweetly, like I'd just done something noble. "Your sister needs a little help with her mortgage paperwork. Just a formality, really." I sat there in my office, heart pounding. "She used your credit for the pre-approval," my mom added. "It's already been processed. She just needs a cosigner now that the title's in escrow." Escrow. Cosigner. Already been processed. My jaw clenched so hard I couldn't open my mouth for a full minute. "Mom," I said carefully. "What are you talking about? What credit? I didn't authorize anything." She sighed. "It was just a soft pull, honey. You're not in any danger." I opened my laptop, checked Experian. There it was, a new mortgage application under my name, linked to an address in Clearwater Beach. I wasn't in danger. I was already inside the burning building. I should have said no. I should have called a lawyer. But instead, I asked a question I already knew the answer to. "Did Dad know about this?" She paused. "We all did. We just didn't want to bother you until things were settled." Things were settled. She said it like I should be grateful, like they'd done me a favor by deceiving me efficiently. I hung up and stared at my ceiling for hours that night. I thought about how I told them I was burnt out last year. How I took a 2-week silent retreat just to feel human again. How I finally said the word no last Thanksgiving and was met with laughter. And then I thought about what it means to love people who see you as a tool, not a person. The next morning, I found myself Googling, "Can someone use your credit for a mortgage without your consent?" And how to dispute fraud when it's family. The articles were cold, legal, detached. Nothing prepares you for the shame of realizing your biggest abusers are the people you've loved the most. 2 weeks later, I flew to Charlotte. I didn't tell them I was coming. My plan was simple. Confront them in person, calmly, ask for answers, set boundaries. But when I pulled up to my parents' house, the one I bought them, the driveway was packed with cars. Laughter echoed from the backyard. I walked around the side and froze. Balloons, catering trays, tiki torches. It was a surprise housewarming party for Brielle, and I wasn't invited. I saw my dad in a Hawaiian shirt, handing out sangria like a cruise ship bartender. My mom was telling someone, "We're just so proud of her. She's finally a homeowner now." The words on my back weren't said out loud. Then I saw the poster board on the fence. Giant cursive letters. "Thank you, Marcus. underneath, a QR code labeled Venmo registry. People were scanning it. They were sending money to my sister to thank me. I backed away slowly, like a man stepping out of a hostage scene, and that was when I got the text from Briel. Briel, hey, didn't know you were in town. LOL, you can come by if you want, just keep it low-key, okay? This is really my day. I didn't reply, I didn't go in. But I took a photo of the poster, of the crowd, of the QR code. For the first time in my life, I felt something shift. I wasn't angry. I was done. And that's when I decided to go home early, but not before leaving something behind they'd never expect. I didn't slam the door when I left Charlotte. I didn't call anyone out or cause a scene. I packed my carry-on, canceled the rental car early, and booked a last-minute flight back to San Diego. Window seat. Noise-canceling headphones. 2 Xanax. The irony? They probably thought I was sulking. What I was actually doing was recalibrating my life from the ground up. Because something cracked open in me that night, not rage, not bitterness. Just a quiet, absolute certainty that I couldn't keep living as a utility for people who would celebrate behind my back and send me a QR code like a receipt. The first thing I did when I got home was call my bank's fraud department. Then I called a real estate attorney. Then I locked down every single credit account I had, froze reports, changed passwords, set up 2-factor authentication on things I didn't even know could be hacked. I sat on hold with half the financial world for the next 4 days. It felt like a second job. I was stunned at how easy it had been for Briel to get a mortgage application pushed through using my credit profile. She'd apparently claimed she was applying with me, and since we shared the same last name and some old address history, no one questioned it too hard. There were signatures on the paperwork, but none of them were mine. My lawyer said we could fight it, and we would, but I'd need to prepare for blowback. Especially if my sister or our parents decided to play dirty, I laughed. They already did, I said. 1 week later, I got the notification. Someone had tagged me in a public post on Facebook. I didn't even use Facebook anymore. But I still had an account. I opened it, and my stomach dropped. It was a picture of me cropped from a family BBQ last summer, with a caption that read, "Some people will never be happy unless they're controlling others. Sad when family gets jealous of your success. We all knew he'd change once the money came in. But to sabotage your own sister's dream? Shameful. Prayers up." 1.2K likes, 300 comments. Briel's post, pinned, public, and worse? My mom had commented, "Sometimes even a good heart can turn cold. We'll get through this, baby girl. Love always wins." I didn't cry. I just sat at my kitchen counter, staring at the screen, feeling like someone had punched me behind the eyes. They weren't just painting me as controlling, they were implying I was jealous of my sister's fake success. Jealous of a home she stole using my financial reputation. Jealous of a lifestyle funded by me. What broke me wasn't just the lie, it was how many people believed it. Aunts, cousins, neighbors. People I'd sent Christmas gift cards to. People I'd quietly Venmo'd after medical emergencies and job losses. One aunt wrote, "I always knew Marcus had a superiority complex. Never even said thank you when I sent him that graduation video." Another, "This is why I keep my distance. People with money think they own everyone." I took screenshots of everything, sent them to my lawyer. And then, for the first time in 10 years, I blocked every single member of my family. One by one, not out of spite, out of necessity. Because the most dangerous gaslighting doesn't come from strangers. It comes from people who hug you while lighting the match behind your back. It took 2 weeks for the legal notice to reach Briel. It was simple. Reverse the fraudulent mortgage application, remove my name from all related documents, or face formal charges of identity theft and real estate fraud. She didn't respond, but my parents did. They emailed me a long, carefully worded message that started with, "Marcus, we're heartbroken. We never thought it would come to this. You could have just talked to us." Talk to them? Like I did when they bought a second car using my emergency fund? Like I did when my dad borrowed my Amex to build his credit and racked up $12,000 in sports betting? Like I did when I paid off Briel's student loans and she blocked me for 3 weeks because I didn't also buy her a graduation trip? There was no conversation, only expectation. And silence when it came to my pain. The next wave came from mutuals, friends of family, old church folks, people from my hometown I hadn't heard from in years. DMs poured in. Hey, saw what's happening. Just want you to know I support you, even if others don't. I always felt like they took advantage of you, man. Just never wanted to get in the middle. That Facebook post was ugly. You deserved better. Funny how people suddenly get bold when you're already bleeding. The only person who reached out and said something real was my old friend Kaisha. We hadn't spoken in years, not because of any falling out, but because my family always pulled me back in before I could nurture other bonds. Kaisha sent me a voice note. I don't know the whole story, and I won't pretend to. But I remember how you always looked tired when we were younger. Not just physically, like your spirit was worn down. I used to think it was your job, but now I get it. I'm proud of you for finally walking away. The legal wheels kept turning. My lawyer filed paperwork to challenge the mortgage, citing unauthorized use of credit and falsified signatures. I kept my head down at work, logged 60-hour weeks, took on new projects just to avoid thinking. I told no one about what I was going through, not my coworkers, not my neighbors. It wasn't shame, it was exhaustion. But one night, sitting alone on my balcony, watching planes cut through the night sky, I finally said it out loud, just once. I deserved better. It wasn't a prayer, it was a truth. 2 weeks later, Brielle responded, not to the lawyer, to Instagram. She posted a picture of her in front of the beach house, holding keys with a caption. The bank says I'm good. The house is mine. And no, I don't owe anyone anything. Try again. It was like she wanted to provoke me, but I didn't flinch. I sent the screenshot to my lawyer. And 2 days later, he called with news that made my chest tighten. Marcus, he said, you're not going to like this. But the house isn't just linked to your credit anymore. She's tried to file a joint deed, as if you're co-owners. I stood in my kitchen, speechless. She's trying to make it look like you gave her the house, he said. There's a certain kind of grief that doesn't come with tears, only silence. You don't scream, you don't beg. You don't even ask why. You just stare at the wall and wonder how you were ever naive enough to think that love was supposed to protect you. The deed filing was the final straw. Not only had Brielle used my credit and fake signatures to buy a home, she now had the audacity to legally link my name to the property, without my consent, as if I was a silent partner gifting her a beach house. She hadn't just stolen from me. She was trying to frame it as a favor. My attorney laid it out flat. If you let this stand, he said, you're on the hook for property taxes, liability insurance, even damage claims. If someone slips on the front porch during a party, they could sue you. I gave him the green light. We filed formal charges: identity theft, forgery, and real estate fraud. And then, in the most painful move of my life, I added my parents' names to the civil complaint, not as criminal parties, but as knowing participants who had failed to disclose or stop the fraudulent application despite full knowledge. It was strategic, it was surgical, and it shattered me. The media blackout from my family lasted exactly 6 days. On the 7th, I got a call from an unknown North Carolina number. Voicemail only, my mom's voice. I hope you're happy. Your sister's been crying for days. Your father's blood pressure is through the roof. We're having a family gathering next weekend to talk about all this. You can come, but if you're going to bring lawyers into it, don't expect hugs. She said, hugs, like they were currency. Like affection was something I had to earn back. I didn't reply. I didn't fly back, but I did get online. A few days later, I stumbled onto Brielle's Instagram story. Dozens of clips. A rented community hall, buffet trays, monogrammed banners, t-shirts. At first, I thought it was just some extended birthday event. But then I saw the cake. It said, family over fraud. And below that, in smaller print, we don't sue blood. I nearly dropped my phone. They turned my boundary into a punchline. They held an entire family reunion themed around my refusal to be exploited, and I wasn't even invited. My parents were there, my cousins. Even my baby brother, Micah. The only one I thought might still have a sliver of empathy was on video doing a mock courtroom skit pretending to be a broke prosecutor. He shouted, "Objection!" My feelings were hurt when I didn't get another free car. Laughter. Applause. Someone off camera yelled, "Lock him up!" That night, I opened my notes app, typed 5 words. I'm not going back again. Then I wrote a letter. It was short, civil, and final. I had it notarized and sent through my attorney. To the Lane family, this is not revenge, this is clarity. I will no longer fund, rescue, cover, or cosign for any of you. I am not your retirement plan. I am not your free ride. I am not a villain for saying no. Do not contact me unless it's through legal counsel. I wish you all peace from a distance. I didn't send it with venom. I sent it with grief. Because sometimes to save your future, you have to become the villain in someone else's story. The reaction was immediate and public. A week later, a cousin posted a TikTok vague but pointed. When your brother thinks a tech job makes him too good for the people who raised him, #buy then. Another made a Facebook status. Some people forget who wiped their noses when they were sick. They let money erase love. It was like watching a slow funeral for someone still alive. I muted every account. I spent weekends hiking alone in Julian, left my phone on airplane mode for hours, learned to cook again. I stopped giving my entire paycheck away. Started therapy. Donated anonymously to a nonprofit for adult survivors of familial abuse. And I kept building my case. My lawyer was methodical. The court date for preliminary hearings on the mortgage fraud was set for 6 weeks out. Our evidence was tight. Forged docs, text receipts, bank records, screenshots, social media admissions. Brielle would either have to remove my name or face full prosecution, and I was ready for the fallout. But then something unexpected happened. She blinked. It came via email. From a generic Gmail account. Subject line: let's just talk. I opened it. Marcus, I messed up. I did, but it wasn't what you think. I was desperate. I didn't think you'd say yes if I asked, and I knew you wouldn't say no if it already happened. That's not fraud. That's family logic. I'll fix it. I'll remove your name. Just please don't press charges. Please don't ruin me over this. I'm still your sister. No apology. No remorse. Just panic dressed up as sentiment. I didn't respond. I forwarded it to my lawyer. 2 days later, she posted a story from the beach house. It was empty, caption said. New beginnings. New name on the deed. No help needed. #independent woman. A lie, obviously. She wasn't independent. She was cornered and trying to spin dignity from defeat. But I let her because I wasn't in it for humiliation. I was in it for closure, and that was the moment I realized I had it. It was a Tuesday afternoon when I got the alert. Property alert. 3102 Suncrest Way. Foreclosure notice filed. I stared at the screen for a full minute. Not because I was surprised, but because, deep down, I knew this was always how it would end. The house in Clearwater that Brielle stole using my credit was now officially in pre-foreclosure. The payments had stopped. The HOA had filed complaints. A neighbor reported parties that went until 3 a.m., several nights a week. And even though my name had been removed from the deed a month prior under legal pressure, I still had notifications turned on, not out of fear, but out of curiosity. I wanted to see how long she could keep up the illusion. The answer was barely a season. The news spread fast. Family group chats lit up. Not mine, I was no longer in any of them. But screenshots started circulating. Posts cropped up on Facebook again. TikToks with captions like, "Can't trust nobody. Even your own blood will curse your home." Somehow, the narrative was spinning again. That I had jinxed the house by removing myself from the deed. That my absence was the real betrayal. My cousin Simone posted a tweet. People who walk away from family then sit back and watch it fall apart like it's entertainment? You're going to learn about karma. I didn't reply. I didn't watch it like entertainment. I watched it like a man who had spent years pouring water into a leaking bucket and had finally put the bucket down. What no one wanted to admit was simple. The beach house fell apart because the person who funded it walked away. Not in revenge, in self-respect. And it turns out, when your whole foundation is built on someone else's silence, their absence becomes your collapse. I was sitting at a cafe in Encinitas when I got the next message. From Micah, my youngest brother. The only one who had never outright mocked me. But never stood up for me either. Micah. "Hey man, I know you probably don't want to hear from me. Just wanted to say I saw everything going on. I don't know what I was thinking, laughing at that reunion skit. I guess I wanted to be accepted by them, but it was wrong. You didn't deserve that. None of it." I didn't reply right away. Not out of resentment. But because I wanted to check in with myself before opening that door again. Later that night, I wrote back. Thanks for saying that. It means something. I'm not angry. I'm just tired. Hope you're well. He didn't push, didn't ask for money, didn't mention the foreclosure, just said, Micah, I'm trying to be better. I hope I get the chance. That was the thing. Not all relationships need to be burned to the ground. Some just need to be replanted far from the original rot. 3 weeks after the foreclosure notice, the beach house was listed online as a bank-owned property. Photos still up, champagne glasses in the sink. A towel draped over the hot tub railing. A glittering bee on the guest room wall. All of it left behind like a forgotten costume. Like the party had ended and no one wanted to clean up. My parents didn't reach out. Not directly. But I heard from an old family friend, Miss Carver, our childhood neighbor. She sent me a short email. Marcus, I don't know all that's happened, but I saw your mother last week. She looked worn down. Said she doesn't hear from you anymore. Said the family lost its heart. I told her the truth. You didn't leave them. They left you every time they chose convenience over character. I just wanted you to know not everyone bought the story. That one made me cry. Softly. Quietly, alone. It was the kind of message I used to beg for in my head as a kid. Someone, anyone, to say, you're not crazy, you're not selfish, you were just surviving. Life became simpler after that. I kept to my routines, worked, read more, traveled solo to Taos, took long drives up the coast, started hosting small dinners with real friends, people who didn't want anything from me, but Micah and I began texting sporadically, never about the past, only about the present, and it was enough. The last message I ever got from Briel came 6 months later. No subject line, no greeting, just, I hope you're happy. I read it once, then deleted it because the answer was yes. Not because she lost the house, not because the lies collapsed, but because I finally chose myself. Epilogue. I still send money sometimes. Not to my family, to causes I care about, scholarships, mental health orgs. Support groups for adults who were emotionally parentified too young. But I no longer try to prove my worth by bleeding for others. I no longer conflate being needed with being loved. I'm not the villain. I'm not the wallet. I'm just a man who found peace the moment he stopped auditioning for people who never saw him. And if they ever tell this story their way, that's fine. I've got mine, and it's quiet, and it's true. If you enjoyed this story, please give a thumbs up to the video and consider subscribing to the channel for more powerful true life stories.